Joining us now is a New York Republican Congressman Lee Zeldin. Welcome. Are you willing to step in it this morning? I'm just joking. There is so much going on, but here now Trump trying to paint Ben Carson as this weak energy guy. Is that going to be effective for him? It worked with Jeb Bush.
I think Carson makes a connection with his demeanor. I think he comes across as an average guy. He doesn't come across as a politician. He's someone whose background obviously isn't in government. I think it's certainly a different contrast than what Trump was successfully able to paint with regards to Jeb. Carson's personality actually is working for him.
You know, you gotta love Dagen. Ben Carson's response to this was I don't know anybody else who's running for president right now who's been on the operating table for 18 hours straight. Like, I've done some things to prove I've got the energy, right?
Right, exactly. He knows how to save his energy, and he understands endurance. I've described Ben Carson's speech and his demeanor as he's the guy in the bar who knows to speak in a really low voice like this to the ladies, because then they lean in and listen to what he's about to say. And I think that does work to his advantage, that you're kind of waiting for him to kind of get out his thought. I'm just waiting to see if Trump eventually drops out, if he starts. Iowa's a different story. As you know, historically in the past, you've had other Republican candidates who never had any momentum outside of Iowa, but won the caucuses there. But if Trump really starts to trail week after week after week after week, will he stay in it? Because it'll be certainly bruising to his ego.
Yeah, and how much of this is just the Trump shtick beginning to wear off a little bit, right? Sort of the outsider comes in, speaks, frankly, whatever adjective you want to use, and Carson's just a nicer version of that.
Well, 2012, I remember it was like every month we had a new frontrunner. And you can't really look at, 4 years ago or 2008, and you see someone with this kind of staying power for several months. And I think with Trump's support, you're seeing a lot more of it get solidified. But with a 15-person field,
it's still wide open.
There might be 25% of people who want to support Donald Trump, and there's 75% who don't.
Yeah.
It'll be fascinating, but I think more people believe today that this guy's in it for the long haul.
How does this play out in your estimation? I mean, the Republican Party machinery has kind of been looking elsewhere for a candidate. How does this ultimately play out? Who's our nominee? Who's the Republican Party nominee?
I think you have to see the field get a lot smaller if you're actually going to have a nominee well in advance of the convention. Because if you have 6, 7, 10 people staying in who are all able to win primary states, what you might end up getting to is a brokered convention, which would be quite historic. But you have to get candidates to get out of the race if you want to see one person get enough support.
Is that what you're expecting, a brokered convention?
Oh, I expect candidates to start getting out of the race here over the course of the next few months. I mean, I think you have, some candidates who might be polling, 8th, 9th, 10th, and beyond. That, Rand Paul needs to start focusing on his reelection in Kentucky. Maybe Chris Christie, doesn't able to bounce back from getting booted out of the quiet car, and 10th place is, as good as he gets. I mean,
I asked Rand Paul about that, and he says he's spending enough time in Kentucky, and he's doing what it's going to take for a Senate race there. That was his response.